Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Tracy's Tuesday Talks. I am your hostess, owner, and financial coach of Golden Rose Financial Coaching. And this week we are going to be talking on how to break the patterns that are holding you back, not only in your finances, but also in your thinking, in your life. And the exercise that I'm going to be going over with you today, I actually got from an addictions coach. And I actually have a lot of my clients who are self-labeled impulsive shoppers or people who just are on this hamster wheel of financial behaviors go through this exercise to help bring the patterns to the surface of what's going on. So that way, when the patterns are brought to the surface, we can shed light on them, address them for what they are, and create new mindsets, habits, and behaviors around finances to be able to move forward. The key to this exercise is to be able to identify what is it that's causing the behavior that you want to change. So for a lot of people, that might be, man, I eat out too much, or I can't help myself when I go to Target, or I tend to throw a boatload of extra stuff in the shopping cart when I go grocery shopping. Or it could be I have a gambling issue or a different addictions issue. So the exercise that I got from this addictions coach is this: when you come across the trigger, so let me back up. A trigger is just essentially when something happens, you have an emotional response. Triggers have a bad name nowadays, but it's literally something happens and it causes you to have an emotional response. It could be good emotions or not so good emotions. So when that happens, when you have that trigger or that impulse, whatever it is that you'd like to change, journal, write out. You've got to write this out because this is how we identify patterns. What is it when the trigger happens? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? And what are you thinking about doing? Journal on these things. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? And what are you thinking about doing? The example that this other coach gave me was he had a guy who fell back onto his addictions every Wednesday without fail. Once a week, man, he just, as far as he'd overcome the work that he put in, there was just something that always happened where once a week he'd fall back to his addiction. So when this coach had this guy journal when this happened, when you lapsed, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? What were you doing? And what were you thinking about doing? It came across that this guy got paid on Wednesdays every week. He got paid on Wednesday every week. He would go to the grocery store. So he would go to Walmart. So he was thinking, hey, I'm getting paid. What was he doing? He would go to the grocery store. What was he feeling? He would hit potholes. He would hit traffic. He would hit rude customers. He wouldn't hit the customers, but he'd run into rude customers. He couldn't find a parking spot. And by the time that he got home, he was so angry and frustrated that he was thinking, I need to do something to get this stress off of me. I don't want to feel this way. What am I thinking about doing? Going back to his addiction. So after journaling this out, after a couple of weeks, they discovered this pattern. And the coach was like, what would it look like if instead of going to Walmart for your grocery shopping, if you spent the few extra dollars and went to Meijer up the road 2 miles and went there for grocery shopping instead? He stopped giving into his addiction just by that one simple change. He was able to identify that pattern. He was able to recognize, oh, this is what's going on. And he was able to create a change in the habit that ultimately helped him to overcome even further his addiction. I've seen this in my clients as well. Those who love their Target, who love their impulse shopping, who love their going out to eat for fast food. I had a client who she was in management And when she would drive home, she'd be exhausted and stressed and just this big ball of just negative energy. She's like, I want to do something that will make me feel better. I'm starving. I got to eat something. I haven't eaten all day. So as she was driving by Target and driving by fast food, she would impulse purchase Target and fast food. So what was she thinking? I'm hungry. I need something to eat. What was she feeling? Frustrated. I need a release. I need a dopamine hit. I gotta do some shopping. It'll make me feel better. What was she doing? She was driving by these stores. And what was she thinking about doing? Blowing her budget and impulse shopping. So once we were able to bring that to the surface of what was going on, as she was taking the same route to work, she could have taken a different route to work that might have just been the most least complicated way to get to work. She recognized those emotions and those thought patterns and those processes that caused her to overspend in her budget. So, how do you break the patterns that are holding you back? Rule number one, you got to identify the pattern. There's always a pattern. When something happens and you have that emotional response, ask those questions. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I doing? And what am I thinking about doing? Write it out. Please write it out. This is so imperative. Not only does writing something out physiologically start shifting your brain, it helps you release that energy, that frustration, the angst that you're trying to let go of. Also, it'll help you keep track of patterns. Was it a day of the week? Is it when you're working? Is it anything that it is? And it's going to be so much easier to keep track of all that if it's written out. I would encourage you to use a pen and paper versus just typing it out or texting it. Something happens differently in the brain when things are written out versus just typed in on a computer on a screen. And that way, when you do have those patterns discovered and you're just like, oh my gosh, when I fight with my wife, I want to spend money because I'm frustrated and I'm angry. And this is a way of being able to control the situation or something of that nature. You are able to recognize those patterns and create a new habit or behavior or change or tweak something so that way you can overcome that impulse or that behavior that you're trying to change. This exercise has been super helpful for me. It's been super helpful for a lot of my clients, and it's been really impactful to a lot of people that I've shared this with. So feel free to share this video with those of you who are trying to overcome patterns in their lives, whether it be with finances or addictions, emotions, anything like that. And as always, if you are wanting to take charge of your money, if you're wanting to take control of your financial situation, I invite you and encourage you to click on the link in the description and schedule a complimentary financial coaching session. I guide people who are stressed and anxious about money conquer their financial goals. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next week. Have a blessed and safe week.